Today, if you look at the Mustang plant, it's not looking so good, okay? Because this is what happened in Detroit. This is what the streets look like in Detroit. Okay, people have gone into the homes, they've stripped out the copper, they've stripped out anything of value. This is a completely different world order, okay? This was the great theater in Detroit. It's been turned into a parking garage, okay? The reversal of fortune in this city cannot be overemphasized, cannot be overstated. It's insane what's happening, okay? All right, so now, let's get into the case. Ford, as we know, founded in 1903 by the great Henry Ford. Alan Mulally came in from Boeing after the subprime financial crisis and did a huge turnaround on Ford, huge turnaround, okay? And then Mark Shields, of course, was his heir apparent. And what do we learn in the case about Mark Shields? What happens to Mark Shields in the case? Now, I know you've all read your case from cover to cover, word for word. I know it. I know you have, Ashley, I have no doubt, right? Okay. Who's going to help me with this case? Come on, man. Someone's got to help me out here. Please, Amanda, so what happened to Shields?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure I remember what happened to him. I know that what he did during the crisis was that he focused the energy of the company to go back and all of the efforts of the employees were focused on the core product. So he let go of many other side businesses that were not functioning and renewed the brand.
All right, so listen, this is a moment of truth here, okay? I know that you had your presentations, I got that. You had 2 weeks to work on this case. Let's be honest now. How many of you read the case and are prepared to discuss the case? Raise them high, raise them high. Now, I have my former student and my current employee, Narayan, here. I'm embarrassed, Narayan, because none of them keep the work ethic that you have. So raise them high if you've read the case. Guys, you had 2 weeks to read this case. It's a short case. God help us. My God. All right, so we're going to have very limited participation, but we're going to work our way through the case, all right? So, Shields was not deemed to be effective. And we're going to go and take a look at it. So I'm going to show you a video to get this started now, okay?
Tell us what it is you need to focus on, and what are you trying to get to faster?
So what we need to focus on is, our mission going forward. So we are in a time of unprecedented change. It offers amazing opportunities, but we have to be very selective. We have to have a very clear point of where we're going to play and where we're going to win, how we're going to win, and then we need to articulate that to not only our employees, but also the investing world. So that's the focus. And on the speed, we need just speed of decision making. We live in a world where the clock speed has increased dramatically. We have competitors now coming into our space that we haven't seen before, and we just need to get ourselves into fighting shape very, very quickly.
You said very positive things about Mark Fields, the outgoing CEO, but there must be some change you want that you didn't see happening before. So give us a sense, is it a different set of priorities or going toward the same priorities at a quicker pace?
Well, it's both. I mean, Mark did a great job in delivering us terrific profitability and really set the stage for us to have the financial wherewithal to create the kind of future that I believe we can and will have. But in a time of great transition, and that's where we are now. I mean, I've never seen such a time in our industry where technology and competitors and everything is converging to drive real change. It's very helpful in a time like that to have a leader who's very experienced in driving transformational change. And fortunately, we have that in Jim Hackett. So Jim, I know Jim very well. I know the way he thinks, and I know his restlessness to get things done. And so I'm very grateful to Mark for everything he did for our company, because he did amazing things. But we're in a different time now, and it requires the kind of leadership that Jim will bring us.
So Bill, if you can be a bit more specific, not about goals and timetables, but overall, where you want to move. Is this a matter of electrical vehicles? Is this EVs? Because it is perceived that you're somewhat behind some other people in the industry.
Yeah, it is about EVs. It's about AVs, autonomous vehicles. It's also about really making sure that we're investing in the parts of our car and truck business that we get good returns, and we are not investing in parts of our business where we're not getting good returns. And so it's really all about capital allocation as well. So there's a lot going on. We're inventing the new. We have to be very thoughtful about where we invest in the current business. And we have to make sure that we continue to drive profitability so that we have the capital to continue to reimagine the Ford Motor Company.
It takes a fair amount of time to develop an automobile. You know better than just about anybody. How long do you expect it will take until you're up to the pace you would like to be to when it comes to EVs?
Well, with EVs, you know, and there are obviously lots of categories of EVs. There's hybrids, there's plug-in hybrids, and then there are pure electric vehicles. And so in some of the areas, I think we're in really good shape. Other areas, we do need more emphasis. But it's a high priority for us, and we've already announced we're spending $4.5 billion on electrification. And part of that, too, is making sure that the business case around electrification really makes good sense.
Well, that's a great point, because you make a lot of money, for example, off the F-150. You don't want to run away from that too quickly, as a practical matter. So do you think that you can get to a world... You think you can get to a world where with EVs you can make the sort of margins you have off of, for example, an F-150?
Well, even the F-150 will get you know, hybridized, and then, you know, beyond that, maybe even more electrified. So I think our whole business is changing and will change as the technology develops. And so you know, I think this is, you can't take a static picture of where we are today and project that out in the future. But we have to make sure that wherever we go, that the returns are great for our shareholders, and that's what we're doing.
Right. So finally, you mentioned capital allocation. We've seen a big competitor of yours down the road get out of some businesses, such as in Europe and things. Are you going to be reviewing businesses you might want to get out of altogether because you cannot see over the longer term a real return for your shareholders?
Yeah, if we get to that point, you'll see us make those changes. You know, we do have a lot of things on the table where we don't feel we're getting adequate returns, and so you'll see us, led by Jim, really go after those decisions.
He's the CEO, but what's his name? He comes from the Ford family, right? So his granddaddy was Henry Ford. So he's got a lot riding on this decision, okay? So what did he just say? And by the way, did he look comfortable on that video? No. Did he look like he was having a good time? No? Probably not having a good time. What would you say, Thorsten?
I mean, it's like any other bigger car manufacturer who produces non-electrical vehicle. Yeah. They have no idea what to do.
So say more. You live with Mercedes. You live with a world-class car manufacturer. Exactly. What do they not know how to do?
How, like, I love the quotes, the headlines in the case, not like, what was it? Not much, not too fast and too much. Yeah, yeah. And then too little and too slow. Yeah, just right. Yeah. Like nobody knows what is just right. Because, I mean, it takes a lot to, like what they said, it takes a lot to develop a car. Yeah. And it's not just that you just say we go electrical and then in 2 years we have electrical fleet. Yeah. It takes a lot, and if you go in one direction and the whole automotive industry like realizes, hey, electrical vehicles with batteries is not what we want to do, and you invested like $50 billion in the industry. Yeah, yeah. So there's even with electric, as you said, there's multiple paths. Exactly. They all require tens of billions of dollars of capital, and you've got to be making bets across all of those. Yeah. And if you bet wrong, it's like the Betamax VHS thing. Yeah. You're done, right? Even which battery technology? Do you do lithium-ion? Yeah, yeah. Do you go state battery? You have to take very, very, very important decisions. Right. And nobody want to take them. And you can't race through these decisions, right? They take a lot of technical investigation to make sure they're correct, and you still don't have a crystal ball. Okay? Yeah, please.
I was actually telling you that it looks kind of sick, and consider the stock price, $11 right now, the stock price is $9. Yeah. So there's been some movement, and if you consider these big companies, I mean, Apple, over $200 billion in cash. Yes. And Ford, how much cash do they have? Maybe a couple of billions, but not more. Right. Because they haven't done the investment that they have to do, and now they have to really find the golden egg where they're going to invest, and that's.
And we all know that's impossible, right? There is no golden egg. Exactly. And I think it goes exactly what Thorsten's been saying, right? So Ford shares are at their lowest point in a decade. Okay, Tesla has a higher market cap than Ford, than GM, than most major auto companies, even though it's doing a fraction of the volume. And oh, by the way, is Tesla making money? Not a chance, okay? So, wow, what a tough job. Anybody want to be the CEO of Ford? I bet I can get you guys a job there if you want one. Anybody want to take the job? No? What do you say, Niels?
I'll do it. I think with the whole competitive landscape and what we see right now, is that personally I think Ford should focus on minivans and pickup trucks.
Okay.
Because I think Google is going to swoop up the whole Ford Fiesta focus in the mini segment.
Yeah.
The middle class segment is not as strong as, for example, Volkswagen.
Right.
So I would really focus out with them on pickup trucks.
Okay, and it turns out, how many people know what Ford did? So Niels is saying they should focus on pickup trucks. Now, that's exactly what they did. Okay, I'm going to come back to you in 1 sec. Okay, but let's go back down. Remember something, my friend. Okay, remember something. Anyway, so here's Mullally. Mullally was a hero. He did a great job. Here's him introducing his heir apparent along. So here's Bill Ford, family, grandson of Henry. Here's Mullally, the conquering hero. He was at Boeing. He came in. He turned Ford around. Now he's off to retire. Okay. Here's Shields. Didn't last very long. And then, of course, you saw this video. Okay. And they bring in this guy Haslett. Okay. But this is no different now, Niels, right? No different than what Detroit has been through several times before. So let me ask you guys, remember, we've spoken very briefly about jugad innovation or frugal innovation, right? What is frugal innovation? What is it, Sebastian?
You build, let's say, a car that's way simpler for a lower segment of the market with, just the minimal viable.
Yeah, so think about, right, they did this with the Mustang. They said, we're going to build an affordable sports car for every man. And they did it successfully. At a $2,000 list price point, they did it. They have been trying to build an affordable sedan, an affordable subcompact, an affordable compact for the better part of 40 years. They've failed. Something tells me they didn't really want to do it, okay? Because if you've got 40 years to do something, you're going to probably have a chance to figure it out, okay? So one of the things that they announced is they're going to get out of the business of fuel economy, and they're going to get into the business of selling you big-ass SUVs and Ford F-150 and F-Series and King Cab trucks because they make a lot of money. Now, at some point, maybe they'll figure out how to electrify these things, and it will turn into a profitable business. But that's a big if right now. Okay, so they're seeking the high end of the market. To your point, whether that turns out to be a smart decision is anybody's guess.